So some of the notes that we touched on the previous panel were really how the collaboration between the DeFi and traditional finance are merging together. And we're going to take the basis of that conversation, which is the merging of two worlds, and we're now going to turn it into the format of art. So how digitization and also tokenization in the art world can really create a new ecostructure and also new potentials for artists and content creators as well. So it's an absolute pleasure to introduce our next panel. We're touching on harmonizing art and technology through digital art. So if we can have a big round of applause for our next round of speakers. Okay, please come onto the stage. Thank you, guys.
All right. Who's ready for lunch?
All right.
All right, we're going to make you wait a little bit. Hope that's okay. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity. It's going to be really, we're going to try to keep this a little more entertaining, so no pressure, you guys. But let's talk and shift a little bit more towards the digital art or digital collectibles or whatever Reddit is calling it, but they're NFTs. And we're going to kind of bring some kind of broad tech and art combo discussion here into today. But I got a really amazing group and panel of artists and collectors here. I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to introduce themselves. But I'll start. ReaperNFT, if you've been around the conference, you've probably seen a lot of the art that I create. It's all kind of fun, full-body NFT caricatures, so that the front pictures, all of that stuff is stuff that I created over time, and as a part of that was co-founder for BoringStone NFT, and again another kind of fun project we created to kind of make fun of ourselves in this space. But throughout, that made a lot of connections with some of these amazing people. So I'm going to pass it off to NorCal.
NorCal Guy, just a collector in the space. Been in the space for a couple years now. Been in crypto a little longer, but really shifted over to the digital art market. And it's been a great time so far.
Thanks, Ben, for having us up here. My name is Rachel Wood. I'm an artist. I'm also the founder of the Artverse, the Good Morning Magazine NFT, the Alpha Mastermind, and a bunch of other projects. I'm really excited about Web3. I guess just really briefly, my NFT journey started in 2019 when I quit my office job, and I sold everything. I bought a camera, and I sit around the world taking pictures. And then I came into the NFT scene in November of last year. And since then, I've been hooked on the community aspect, on the social aspect, on the creative aspect. It's been a wild ride. So I guess you could say I've chosen a life outside of what's typically possible for someone my age. And I think that is what Web3 is for right now. So, yeah.
Awesome. Good morning. My name is Matt. I'm a digital art collector. I also own a company in the fast food industry. I like to say that when we started our business, we were a Web 0 business. It was prior to the internet, and at that time, the realistic potential for a fast food company was maybe a handful of locations at best in one trade area, somewhere you could physically get to in every day. But we were relatively early adopters of both Web 1 and Web 2, and that has allowed us to stay in business for, oh my God, like 40 years. I hate to age myself. And we now operate in 6 states, probably have 1,000, we have 70 plus locations and 1,000 employees, and so we've done really well. By entering into digital art, it caused me to really learn and embrace blockchain. So I'm an example here of a user that everybody out here needs more of. I'm a user, not a tech person, and I've learned a lot about blockchain, and as I am having a great time with these friends here collecting art, I'm also constantly thinking about how new everyday uses of blockchain will benefit my in real life business. And I can't wait for all the different things that we do where we pay a middleman a certain amount of money, whether it's the credit card processor, the insurance agent, or somebody's monitoring our supply chain. I can't wait till blockchain takes over and helps our company improve profitability, which we can then ultimately invest in, hopefully in more people, better pay and things like that. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, thank you I can hear some of the stomachs growling from here at this point, so thanks for sticking through with us. I'm Lori Grace Bailey. I am, first and foremost, I'm a photographer, and I'm a lightning and storm photographer, which is kind of weird. I have been struck by lightning, and then I decided to go pursue more lightning. So I don't know, maybe it's a death wish. But I did find success in the NFT space as a photographer, selling my incredible footage of floods and tornadoes and supercells to the mainstream media. I found that there was such a disconnect, and it's so difficult to do that. And I jumped into the NFT space after finding my way into the community with photography and other artists, and discovered what an amazing space it is, not only for the ability for creators to find something new and embrace this new technology, because we're kind of the outcasts and the outliers, but it's kind of similar to those people on the cutting edge of blockchain technology too, right? So I found common ground there. So now I've actually expanded. I'm a Rug Radio Spaces host, a founding member of Nvak Collective, which is a music platform trying to bring in and empower artists, musicians, to find their way also in the space and connect musicians, take out that centralized portion and connect musicians directly to fans through NFTs and blockchain technology. And also I'm a founding member of BFF. And what else? Oh, I'm also the DEI advisor for Hug, Randy Zuckerberg and Debbie Soon. So I'm super glad to be here. And yeah, I kind of have my hands in every fire. And I'm a little bit of a collector too. I have to admit, it's pretty addictive too. So
You're going to need about 6 pages for that, that resume, right? Yeah.
Try to make that fast.
No, it was great. I think so. We're going to get into a little bit more about you and I guess everybody's background up here, and we're going to kind of break this up into a couple of different areas. One of the things I wanted to kind of start just a level set. Obviously, we're talking about harmonizing art technology through NFTs. The Web3 space has presented a very unique opportunity for those of us from a collector standpoint and from an artist standpoint to engage at a very different level than in the traditional art space. There's a lot of hurdles that have been broken down and different things like that. So we're going to talk about all of those things here today. But at the start, I really wanted to just for Rachel, for Lori, do you guys talk a little bit about why you're here? Why move into this space versus kind of the traditional Web 2, call it Web 2, Web 0, whatever number you want to give it, the more physical art and photography space that you came from, and where do you see kind of what's the most interesting aspect of this that kind of keeps you engaged?
Okay, I'll go first. So back in November, I got on because a lot of my peers were making money off of NFTs, off their art. And as an artist, I was like, oh, I like money. So I hopped onto Twitter for the first time, and I was just like, holy moly, what is happening? Things were happening super fast. People were throwing around lingo I didn't know about, and I loved it. For like the first time in my life, I wanted to be on social media, and that was different. I'm a full-time traveler, which means I don't have a house. I change countries every 1 or 2 weeks, and like I don't have a community of people. My friends are spaced all over the world, and so it makes it a little bit hard to really have the stability that most people have in their lives. But coming into Web3 and meeting Lori and NorCal and Matt and Reaper here, like I'm able to like travel and be financially supported, but also socially accepted for all the kind of crazy artistic meanderings of my heart. And that's something that I don't want to give up. That's why I'm here. That's why I continue to build for other people like me to just live a life that is passionate, that is creative, and supported. Yeah.
Lori, how about you?
Oh goodness, you got another 2 hours? No, I'll give it 2 minutes then. Like I mentioned before, jumping into this space was something unique, especially as an artist and creator, as a photographer. Many other platforms, social media has always been about me growing my platform, me becoming more influential. And when I found this space, not only did they embrace my own unique perspective of deciding to chase lightning and tornadoes and do crazy things, but I was also celebrated also. And I thought that was such a unique perspective in the space, from collector to creator to developer, I found a community that was so unique to this space. And I think many people can identify with that when they finally come into a space and you finally feel like you belong, there is something incredible about the power of belonging. And I have to admit that that's one of the reasons that it brought me in, and it's one of the reasons I'm still here. And that's one of the reasons for the third time, that's one of the reasons I really am trying to continue to build out, even in a time when everybody keeps talking bear market. We are always talking. The builders will continue to talk about getting more concrete onto the foundation.
Yeah, so you mentioned community. I think that's something that is new to artists. I mean, you've obviously have collectors in the past when you're kind of selling physical work, but the connection to the buyer or your customer is almost impossible to make or to maintain. Obviously, things are a little bit different in this world that we're in now. So how do you find, you have to like it, obviously. You have to like engaging with people, right? But how do you find it's best to maintain that, to grow that? Do you have ups and downs kind of in that, view of kind of managing a community of collectors?
I'll go first, yeah. So bottom line is, being able to find people who actually like what I do and be able to finally value yourself and have somebody else find that same amount of value that you believe yourself to have is an incredibly empowering, self-empowering, purpose-driven attitude to have. And I found that. I discovered that I finally blossomed. I felt like I was still getting along, trying to sell my work and do the grind that everybody else does, but I think I finally found a purpose and a passion to it. And connecting that passion back to my work and then finding that passion with other like-minded people in this community, it's incredible what truly the community, the presence of the community in the blockchain, people that are all like-minded can bring. It's amazing to see what potential is there.
For sure. So maybe a natural segue then to NorCal and to Matt from a collector standpoint. Again, you're in a different position in kind of the NFT Web3 digital collectible space. What drew you, into this versus maybe collecting from a more traditional standpoint?
So initially, I got in for the money.
There we go. That's what everybody's here for, right?
I got in with Top Shots. Everyone was like flipping, making great, easy money, and that was nice. And heard about art blocks, so I started flipping those, for easy 3x. And I'm like, wow. Started thinking about it. I'm like, I should probably be holding these because these are probably historical. Yeah. There's a lot of new things happening, and then started buying one-of-one art and started making connections with artists and making those connections, building those friendships. That really kept me in the space. That kept me going. It's been awesome to talk to other collectors, other artists, and just build friendships and a community that I never saw before.
Yeah, very similar story. I came for the money, and now I'm staying for the art. The first piece I collected was actually my cousin Chris Hytha's piece, so that was just kind of like help a relative. I didn't know what I was doing. But the second piece to me was the transformational piece. I bought a piece off the secondary, and within 30 minutes after I bought it, both the artist and the seller, who was Doppler Jess, so was also an artist, both reached out to me and connected with me over Twitter. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't get this. Like, they're talking to me. They're crying and shaking. They're so happy. They're thankful. And I'm like, there's something amazing here. And then it just quickly turned into pretty much a 24/7 addiction. It's incredibly fun. And then also, in all seriousness, the stories that Rachel and Lori told just now are very inspirational. And I think NorCal and Reaper will agree. We hear those stories all the time. And so we know, even if there is no money in the bear, and hopefully there will be in the bull someday, but nonetheless, we're helping artists pursue their passion. We're helping them spread a message, push boundaries, cultural boundaries, travel the world, and then also hopefully increase communication and marketing of mainstream adoption of blockchain technologies.
Yeah, the tech piece of this, and I know we're going to get to that. Almost everybody in the room is most interested on the tech side of this. But ultimately, as a part of the effort to onboard as many people into this space, to bring more people into a realm of acceptance of Web3, of blockchain, of digital collectibles / NFTs, art is always the delivery mechanism for new advances in technology, and so that's really what we wanted to kind of relay it and have these this group talk about was, artists are generally the ones that, and Matt, you mentioned it, breaking rules, they're pushing boundaries, they're the ones that are really helping to bring others into a level of acceptance of new things, new technologies. So not to put a ton of pressure on you, right? But as an artist, how do you feel your role is in that, and do you obviously embrace the power that comes with helping to kind of bring others into the space and help them understand at a more real level what they can do with this technology?
Well, I'm going to go back to the topic right before this to bring it into this topic. Anyone in this space can, buy a copy of the Mona Lisa off of Etsy or Target. And, we can put it up on our walls and we can be like, oh, I have a copy of the Mona Lisa. No one gets excited about that. But if you were able to own the original Mona Lisa by Da Vinci, that's something big. That's something you can brag about. That's something that you can put in your hallway and everyone's like, oh my gosh, is that an original? And that's what the blockchain has done for artists here, now. We are able to buy art directly from the artist, like the authentic file. And sure, I can buy a screenshot of people's NFT or Madonna's or, an ape. But because of that public transactional certificate of authentication, everyone can see if it's fake or not. They can see who that piece of art is from. And for the first time, the artist is the person that gives its value. And as an artist, that makes it really, really exciting. But I think as a collector, I'm also able to look at the artist and see who is behind this really intriguing piece of work. Is that someone I want to be connected with? Is that someone that I can see going forward and bringing value in what they do in Web3 or in real life? And I think that human connection is kind of what drives artists, especially this excitement, this passion to share it with other artists, to share it with other people. We have creative minds. I know Lori has incredible ideas whenever you hop on a space, and every single person that I know in Web3 has these ideas that we throw around in our DMs, based upon the blockchain and our ability to suddenly be like, oh, we now have the technology to do this. And so I think a lot of people, they will look at Pepsi, they will look at really big brands coming into the Web3 space, and they will follow, but they don't really understand the technology. They don't really get why they're doing it. They're just doing it because someone big is telling them to do it. Those who actually will come into the space and stay in the space and really push the space forward are the people who have that personal connection. And I know not everyone's going to like every single piece of my art. That's normal. But everyone can connect with me. And through that connection, I can help bring them on to what is possible within Web3. What is a better internet? What is Web3? They're going to listen to me because they can trust me, that they can sort of connect with me on a human level and feel like they're being seen and heard and helped in this space. And that, to me, is why artists are so pivotal in the mass adoption of all of this, of what everyone's trying to do, is that human aspect, is that listening, give and take, everyday connection.
I love what Rachel was saying, because I have such a first-hand account coming into the space about 1.5 years ago, and being able to not only find my own success, but seeing the success of many other creators and artists coming into the space from Iran, I'm sorry, I always say that wrong, but from Iran and Nigeria, incredible artists throughout the world who I never would have seen otherwise. And seeing the power of this technology, for some of us who might use let's just throw out 0.1 ETH for those of you who can identify with that and understand that. 0.1 might not seem like a lot for a large collector or investor, but for 0.1 or 0.2 ETH, you have no idea how much that can help somebody in an underserved or underrepresented country or an underrepresented group. And just first example, I actually contributed and helped somebody in the Philippines who I shared one of my sales with and watched as said literally that little bit of sale ended up helping them watching this video of hundreds of kids receiving medical and school supplies. Like this is world-changing stuff. This is why I'm here, because this technology has the power to change the world, and I'm not giving up.
And you know, we were talking earlier, or a little bit earlier, about art being the thing that helps to pave the way for those opportunities, right? So it's the delivery mechanism to get everybody on the same page with what those opportunities can be. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of the major brands coming into this eventually to say, I can easily track everybody who is through wallets, who is a loyal customer of mine, or from a loyalty standpoint, or from that the other aspect of from a charity and getting access to funds and places of the world to artists that would never have this opportunity otherwise. All right, everybody got quiet. All right, so maybe we take a little bit of a build off of that, I guess. But Matt, one of the things you were talking about last night was we were kind of going over this was around the hurdles that exist today and kind of the Web 2 world, where they can be broken down here, and we've talked again, we've hit on some of this, but from where you sit and the things that you see, what are those kind of hurdles that have been broken down, and where do you see them still that we need to still address?
No, that's a great question. If you're just sitting in a room of non-blockchain people and you mention the word NFT, you duck because the haters are everywhere. I think we all know.
Probably still in here too.
Yeah, you may be in here too. That's fine. But to me, that's just lack of knowledge. I mean, it's ignorance, and I don't say that in a mean way. It's just that it's lack of knowledge. And so I think our biggest hurdle, our biggest challenge is to educate. And at the same time, and I think it was a couple of talks ago, there's probably some unnecessary hurdles to collecting art. Like for one, first you have to understand and buy in and believe in crypto, which everybody on the stage does, but let's be real, most people out in society still don't. So there's no real fundamental reason in my mind why you have to first get a crypto wallet to buy an NFT. It would be great if there were ways to sell. And I know like a Nifty Gateway you can do it, but really still you gotta have a wallet. It's all crypto. It's all tied into crypto. Also, for older generations, they may never get over the hurdle of right-click save or where's the value. But younger generations that are native to gaming and native to computers and phones, they'll understand the value in digital property. I think Shakai once said, he used a great example of how you can explain the value of digital properties. If you ask a doubter about digital property, like, do you have photos on your computer or on your phone of your family or of important moments in your life? And the answer will always be yes. And you're like, well, if those were lost permanently, would that be of value to you? Would you feel bad? And the answer will be yes. And you go, well, there you go. There's an example that digital property has value. But there's so many hurdles right now of education and steps that we have to take that we need to learn how to eliminate. And I think actually, I think eventually, I think the roles may reverse. And I actually got this from a NorCal. I steal everything. I got this from a NorCal podcast, so I better attribute to him because he was probably going to say it. Things may reverse, and we may actually give away NFTs to help bring people into blockchain and bring people into crypto, as opposed to now it's almost the other way. You have to first get into crypto to get to NFTs. And I think that NFTs could actually be the vehicle and the tool to help all of us progress.
Well, he threw it to you. You want to build on that?
I mean, I stole that from another podcast.
Oh, well, there we go. No original ideas, right?
But yeah, I mean, I agree. It was the idea was basically, handing stuff out. I mean, Ledger has talked about giving out their ledgers with so people can collect NFTs, like as a gift, like, hey, there's an NFT on here, or however they end up doing it, so you can collect a free NFT. But I mean, and possibly it's going to be through gaming that everyone comes in, you get an NFT, and with that NFT you can sell it for crypto, and that's how you get your first crypto, is through getting a free NFT.
I'd like to add to that also, because I really do think that it's those other divisions of art, like music, like I've talked about before. Seeing Rosalind on the Late Show with James Corden just 2 nights ago. She was in my space 2 months ago singing, you know, to all these awesome creators and artists, and I just thought that that was so cool that we're getting there. I know a lot of us feel we probably don't talk about NFTs or digital collectibles in front of the family at Thanksgiving, perhaps, but we're getting there. In fact, they're going to start to realize, even in my own social media apps that I use outside of the space, I'm now able to link my digital collectibles, and people don't even really realize that. So I think the onboarding process is not only onboarding, but the adoption is happening a lot sooner than later. And I think by presenting the value, and I really think that the human element has to be at the forefront of all of this. If we're just talking technology, we're not going to get anywhere. We have to make that human connection. And I really think that's what art and digital art and technology does together.
Yeah, and that's
so well.
the kind of the harmonizing, the humanizing of the art and the tech, right? So, and I'll completely agree with that. As a collector and kind of pretend artist, like the thing that I like the most, and that way I've obviously connected with Lori and Rachel as the artist, is being able to, I can see a picture, a photo that you guys have taken, and I'm like, that's really nice. I like that. It's appealing. It's something that maybe if I saw in a store, maybe I'd buy it, throw it up on the wall, right? But being able to, through this, the direct connections that we have, understand the story behind it, right? What did you go through to get it? As the story of the art, it, to me, adds an immense amount of kind of value, and it helps to, again, humanize and make the connections through this technology more special, from my side. So and also I'd add to this, being able to identify other collectors of your work. And you don't know this story, but I'll tell it. A couple months ago, I was connecting with Rachel on a new drop that she had, and she had it was the Iceland, the volcano photography collection that she had put out there. And I had the opportunity to select, one that I really wanted to have sent over to me as part of, kind of our ongoing collecting efforts. And the one that I liked, one of the first things you said was, well, NorCal's got his eye on that, so you better be quick. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. I got it. Because, you start to understand, you respect the eye of other collectors too, but you can't necessarily do that without the space that we're in right now. So.
Did you get it?
I did.
You could probably flip
probably
it
sell it
for a
back.
profit right now.
Turning a
of
profit
everyone.
in this market, we should talk later. I think it was more, let's say, Golden State Warriors colors. So that may have been why you were going for that in the kind of the NorCal standpoint. So we're okay. So maybe we've got about 15 minutes or so. And I do want to leave a little bit of time for questions, but maybe we can just go down the line here. But where do you? We've talked a little bit about onboarding and what's some of those hurdles, but what's really the next domino to fall or where do you see is that kind of the next domino to fall that really pushes this into more of a mainstream area? That's a big question.
That's a real big question.
I'll put you on the spot. We got 15 minutes to cover, so.
I don't know if I have a good answer for that.
You can pass.
It's gonna be gaming.
Yeah.
Gamifying it
probably,
somewhere.
So in my stressed out preparation for being up on the stage, this is my first time speaking in front of people, I came across a quote by Einstein that said that art and tech are branches of the same tree. And I loved that. I thought it was such a encompassing sort of quote that really got to the meat of what we're all trying to do. Build a better tomorrow based upon the blockchain. And I think to get more people involved means we need to incite more people of what could be possible. And that is a future that is not yet realized. I think for Lori and me, we have a lot of hope for the future, not just for artists, but for people all around the world to connect. And I know these collectors as well have that valuization in connecting to artists and other people as well. And so I don't think the answer is really easy. I think it's multi-pronged because we're all so different. But I also think it's artists who are really drawing all these different aspects together. We're building community. We're proving that this is possible to have non-tech people in Web3 right now. And we're creating things that haven't been created before. We're using the tools of technology and creating and building, and that's something we all can relate to. So I think we need to have more artists in the space. But
So that was awesome. So when I started collecting about a year ago, and I said I had that epiphany on that second piece, and I was like, there's something to this I don't understand. So until I do understand, I'm going to collect with a purpose. And I very quickly, as I connected with artists, I was like, we're going to build this collection, and you're going to use it to help further your goals. You're going to use it as you're part of the Llamo team. You can use it as marketing. I'll invest in some blue chip pieces, and then new emerging artists, and we'll hang them in virtual galleries. We'll hang the emerging artist pieces right next to the blue chip, and then I would encourage the emerging artists to go out and talk to potential collectors and go, look, here's a collection where I'm right next to this icon of the industry or this legend, so I must be pretty good. And then as that evolved further and further, and now I'm a year in, Rachel has joined our team, and we've put together a team of about 6 or 7 artists and me. Although I have taken my camera out and tried to shoot artistically the last 2 weeks, so I don't know if that makes me an artist or not. I bought an ND filter and I can shoot long exposures. But anyways, I digress. We've created one of the first, maybe the first nonprofit in Web3 called Llamo Art, and our purpose is to support artists and collectors. We want to support artists financially, administratively, with education, any way we can to help them pursue their passion. And at the same time, to answer the question, it was kind of a long way to get there, in some small way to bring more collectors into the space. I mean, I was really hopeful that we could make a difference, and then Reddit like accidentally opened up 4 million wallets in a week, which is phenomenal for all of us, but made me think, well, oh man, so like if I bring on 50 people, that's like, I don't know if it really matters anymore, but whatever, it does. So we're working really hard, and we have some really big ideas on how to educate and actually probably through giving away NFTs, bring new people in, and we just want to help in any way we can to both help artists pursue their passion and help, you know, mainstream adoption for blockchain technologies.
You know, I love the fact that there are more people carrying that torch forward, right? That just like with Llamo Art, I think that's such an incredible idea, and it's not just happening in the far reaches of the farthest corners of NFT land. It's happening everywhere. You know why? Because there's a connection. Everyone that comes into the space that finds that safe space, they find a connection, whether it's an artist, whether it's somebody from India. Like, my goodness, some of the first people I spoke to in spaces were people who wanted to talk to me from India. And boy, were my misconceptions, boy, the stereotypes that they throw on TV were completely blown out of the water, and I discovered the power of global communication and global perspective. And I really think that, you know, just humor me for 1 second, and let's think about where are we going to be in 1 year. Now let's go, where is this all going to be in 5 years? Well, hopefully both of those will be out of the bear market, right? But either way, can you imagine where we're going to be in 5 years? Do you think that people are even going to be vilifying you at the Thanksgiving table because you brought up a digital collectible? I think it's going to be so seamless. And the fact that you can be a part of the equation today, right now, I don't know how many times you've heard this, but I think we always say, you're early. So, you know, be excited about that and embrace that and wear that as a badge of courage, right? Because you are early, you're taking those chances, and you're being passionate about it, people will connect with that. And that's what I found. Just this little old photographer from southern Arizona doing her business, minding her business, hoping not to get zapped by another bolt of lightning, you know. And I will just tell you that getting struck by lightning is a revolting experience. So don't, I know, but terrible joke, but you get the picture. Don't do it. It's not fun. But the bottom line is someone like me in this tiny little town of 11,000 people can be here speaking to you today, sharing how passionate, how incredible this technology is, and how I've used it to not only just better myself, but to be able to connect with others who are longing for that connection as well, right? Every one of us, COVID and all of the other struggles that we've had over the last 5 years, come on, we can all relate to that. And there was a hunger, and I think this technology came in at the exact right time for all of us to connect with one another. And I think that's fantastic. And that's why you're seeing some of us up here and all of us up here still bullish on the technology, bullish on the connections, and bullish on community.
Yeah, and if it all does go to zero, at least we got some really nice art out of it, right? But you know, so part of, and hopefully what you guys are seeing and taking from this, that we really wanted to get across, I mean, air quote, NFTs, digital collectibles, everyone, I guess, you know, if you have those conversations, when I have them at, you know, the dinner table with my parents or grandparents or whoever, friends, those are those digital, like the monkey pictures, the JPEGs, right? Yeah, it is, right? But that's not what's going to advance the technology in this space. It's actually going to be real art, right? And which is what you guys are bringing into this space, and that's what's going to bridge that gap and get people to understand the power of the technology, what's behind it, and for them to get interested in, you know, actually, you know, creating a wallet, buying into crypto, and all those other things. So, but Rachel, you looks like you want to say something, so I'm going to pass to you. Yeah, go for it.
Just as an example, so I'm an artist. I'm the rainbow sheep of the family. They're all doctors, lawyers, high-powered STEM people. So in the beginning, like last December, they pulled me aside and they're like, Rachel, we're doing an intervention. These are not real connections. What are you doing with your life? And I was like, no, this is real. And I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to be a rebel against what society is telling me to do or what is possible, and I'm going to go do this. And this year, I'm so excited to say that after, you know, my success in the space, which, like Lori said, like I'm a nobody, but yet I've been able to fund an entire year of international travel. I've been able to come up onto the stage because Reaper, one of my first collectors, we were just chatting and he brought it up and I was like, oh, let's do this. And my family is now starting to get more into it. My dad has his own wallet. He's minting his own work. Nice. He's collecting work, and because he sees what it means to me, not just because of like the financial success, but just what it means to me as a human, he got excited, and he's very interested in where this is going. My older sister, she's now interested in buying crypto, because she's interested in the music scene. My older brother, he's interested in the more tech aspect. And as more people become more interested, I think more people are going to be innovating what is possible. And I totally forgot the point of my speech here, so I'm going to throw it back to you.
It was a beautiful speech. Very, very well done. No, but so I guess we've got a couple of minutes here. I do want to, we'll open it up if anybody does have any questions, but maybe kind of last parting thoughts from each of you as we kind of move through. Anything?
I'm curious, how many people here have crypto art, have bought art? So, I mean, for me, it was once I made those connections. Those connections really brought me into the space, kept me going. I suggest everyone try it, build that connection. There's a lot of innovation to happen, and artists are very creative. They're willing to try new things. And if you're a builder and you connect with an artist, you can be a great team.
I agree. I also just wanted to say thank you to everyone who took the chance of coming to a tech conference. It's been great connecting with you guys in real life. And I also want to thank the three beautiful ladies at our table, Candace, Amy, and Julie, who are also collectors, artists, and just connections I made months ago, but who are now, you know, in real life friends.
Yay. So just two quick points. You know, ever throughout history, artists have led cultural and societal change, technology change. So this is probably no different than what's happened for thousands and thousands of years. So embrace the artists. And then as far as NorCal's suggestion to try investing in crypto. So like when I explained this to my wife the first time, I was like, look, I'm an entrepreneur. I look at information in front of me and I make a decision that some people perceive as risky, and sometimes it's successful and sometimes we go to zero. And I've had business adventures that have gone horribly wrong and where I've lost a lot of money. And in the end, all I have is like maybe a leftover legal bill or a landlord chasing me or something negative. I said, at least if this one goes to zero, like Reaper said, I had a lot of fun. I got some art, and most importantly, I made friends, and I helped those friends financially. I'd rather give my capital to Rachel and Lori than a lawyer and a landlord. And so that's the game I'm playing. And if this actually doesn't go to zero, and I really don't think it's going to, I'm going to probably pass everything down to the next generation and let them figure out how to liquidate it. But I'm just going to go for the ride, and I'm having a hell of a good time.
Well, I just want to sum up, you know, and I'm really grateful to be able to speak before you about this. You know, I just want to remind everyone, no one puts baby in a corner, right? Like, this space is a place for inspiration. Whether you're a collector, whether you're a developer, whether you're a coder, you know, whatever it is, you're an artist, there is something amazing for each and every one of you. And I love that. I love each and every day waking up when I'm down and out, something is there in this space that just knocks my socks off and inspires the hell out of me, and it gives me that fire to go on. I know you all have seen that. You see it each and every day, and it keeps you showing up. It brought you here. So don't forget that when you're down and out. Just hold on to that fire and wake up to that new morning and look for that inspiration here. You'll find it.
Well said. We can end. That's a great way to end. That's awesome. So we got a couple of minutes. Are there any questions in the crowd? Any if you'd like to hear backstories about some of the from the artists here? A couple questions.
Yeah, let me bring the.
Hugely. I honestly think I've only been able to include my own films, my short time lapses on the blockchain because of storage issues, right? But I think that as those storage issues are beginning to be solved, we will be able to see more films on the blockchain. I think Lord of the Rings is going to be offering an NFT pretty soon. I don't know more about that, but they're about to do something like that as well. But I think filmmakers, I think NFTs, I don't think that I think it's untouched right now just because of capacity issues. But I think once that's solved, you're going to see just such an incredible power for filmmakers to connect, just like we have with photographers and musicians and gamers. It's all gonna be so accessible, and that's what's gonna light that fire.
I don't remember the name of the woman, but there have been films completely funded by NFT sales. And
Julie Pacino,
Julie
Keepers of
Pacino,
the End.
yes. And that was amazing. And that lit a fire amongst many other creators to start thinking about how can we use NFTs, how can we use the technology to maybe get your film, your message out to the world, because you're no longer, gatekept at like film festivals. Like, the world is your oyster as a film person and a creator or, storyteller. So it's amazing.
The storyteller piece was kind of where I was going, and Matt, you may have been, I'll let you jump in here too, but being able to leverage the NFT blockchain and using the ability to maybe create an NFT collection to help advance the story or to connect others to the story you're trying to tell, I think is a big open field that not enough in the entertainment industry are exploring just yet.
And maybe this answer is obvious, but to someone who's not real tech, you can explain to mainstream is eliminate the middleman, just like so many other uses with blockchain. I think films could distribute by selling an NFT at whatever. It doesn't have to be expensive, 10, 20 bucks, and then that gives access to the film, and then now you don't have to use Netflix to distribute your film. You don't have to pay Netflix, and so neither of the end users has to pay the middleman. But of course, to do that, we need the vast majority of the people in society to understand NFTs. But I see that as a real use for for blockchain technology with NFTs.
And no offense to any middlemen out in the crowd. Sorry about that. But go ahead.
Well, I've been wondering this for about a half an hour, which is part of the role of a Netflix or an art gallery is to curate pieces that they think are relevant to their customer base. But if you go on OpenSea and it's almost like a crapshoot if you'll find something you like. And I'm wondering how you guys see the role of, like, for example, Matt's nonprofit or a for-profit enterprise helping the aesthetic curation of these NFTs.
So, Matt, go ahead.
I just real quick, that it's happening right now. Monolith Galleries is a perfect example. There's many others too, but it's a great question. But I think there's a lot of artists and collectors that realize this need, and they're working on it. We're just early, and but the one that jumps out to me as one of the pioneers was Monolith and Chikai, and that is evolving. I mean, by the day, it's evolving, and I'll let you guys pitch in.
No, unfortunately, our last member wasn't able to make it here, but Photo NFT is a curation house. So they have, they're new. They've launched a couple of collections, but mostly around kind of iconic, historic photography collections that are in the space. But they're one of several, like Monolith and others, where that's going to be an important part of this to help to bring exposure to artists and collections that wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to do that.
I also just want to point out that curation is kind of a hot topic amongst artists. We don't like it. We see it as something that prevents a lot of artists from being seen, from making sales, from connecting with collectors and people who might actually find value in what they do. And so I just want to quickly say that right now we're in the beginning days of NFTs and digital creations, and artists right now who are in the space are learning how to curate themselves. And that is something that will uplift all artists in the future, in my opinion. And that's my goal, is to help elevate art and establish it within the metaverse. And I see that happening. I see that happening because now artists can control and feel empowered to do these sorts of things based upon the big technology. And it's exciting to not give away that power to someone else, to actually hold that power within us, curate ourselves, promote ourselves, and make money.
All right, well, we're getting the red dot up here, so I think we're a little over time. So if there are other questions, we're all here for the next day and a half. So please come by and say hi, introduce yourself, and get to know these incredible artists and collectors. So we just want to say thank you for your time. Really appreciate the opportunity to be up here. I'm going to make one last plug. If you guys want on your way, if you're going to go grab lunch, swing back through the merch-proof booth over there, pick up a free T-shirt. We're giving all those away. They're going to have them all out on the desk. But just LA Blockchain Summit T-shirts. They wanted me to make that plug and reminder for everybody to swing by and grab one because I had too many left over yesterday. So with that, we will let it go. But again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was great.